Hello my friends and welcome to the channel. In this one we are going to talk about the basic JavaScript you should know before you get into React. Okay, ideally you should learn as much JavaScript as you can before you get into React. I recommend that you be comfortable with JavaScript and that you've built one or two projects with JavaScript before you get into React. Okay, but JavaScript is really wide. Okay, and I must say that the concepts, like the way you write JavaScript, is quite different from the way React is structured. Okay, but I just wanted to do this video just to help some people speed up the learning curve or the process before they get into React. Okay, and by the way, if you would like to see some JavaScript projects that you can get your hands dirty with, I'll leave a link in the description to a playlist that contains different JavaScript projects that I've built. Okay, from quiz apps to weather apps, calculators and stuff like that. Okay, so have fun with it. You can just check the description and you'll see a link to my playlist on JavaScript project. Okay, so let's get started. But before then, if you are interested in videos and tutorials like this around web development, that's basically what I do on YouTube. Okay, so just hit the subscribe button and leave a like on this video. All right, so the first JavaScript basic concept you should know are that of variable declarations. Okay, so basically you just need to know let and const. So I expect that if you're watching this tutorial, you already know about JavaScript variables and that you probably have already used var, let and const in the past, but just make sure that you understand the difference between let and const before you get into React. Okay, so I'm just going to summarize it. So basically we have var. Okay, so I'll add a comment here, or maybe I'll just declare a variable. So I'll just say var name, and I'll set the name to be equal to a string, and I'll just put my name in there, so Zeno. Okay, so when you use the var keyword to declare a variable, that variable becomes global, like global scoped. Okay, it can be accessed anywhere within that file. But the thing about using the var variable is that it can be reassigned and updated. Okay, so I can just come here and say something like name is equal to John, and if I do console.log John name, I'm going to get John. Okay, so the variable can be reassigned, okay, which is what we did here, and then it can be updated, and this can cause a lot of problems, like when you're writing a very large application. Okay, so but when you use let, that some of the problems will be mitigated. So if I say let name be equal to, and I use the string and say Zeno, right? The difference between these two variables is that let can be updated, but they cannot be reassigned. So I cannot come down here and say let name, right, be equal to John, okay, because I cannot reassign the variable. Okay, however, I can say name equal to John. Okay, so it can be updated, but it cannot be reassigned. Okay, and the last one is const. Okay, and if I say, sorry, I should say const name. Now the reason why I'm not doing console.log is because I'm actually setting this variable with the same variable name. Okay, or I'm declaring the variable with the same name. If I say const name, let me just set it same name to Zeno, right? Now the difference between let and const is that we said const can be updated but cannot be reassigned. Sorry, let can be updated but cannot be reassigned. A const variable is a constant. Okay, it cannot be reassigned, neither can it be updated. Okay, so let's just say const is constant. Okay, so those are the basic things you should know about the var, let and const variable declaration. So but I have a comprehensive tutorial, and I'm going to leave a link in the description that will essentially go into the details of variable declarations with var, let and const and how they are different. Okay, so you can check that out in the description. Okay, so let's go to the next one. The next thing you need to familiarize yourself with before you learn JavaScript is what is called arrow function. Okay, so arrow function, so this should be ARROW. So basically, arrow functions are a way to write functions with a shorter syntax. Okay, of course they were introduced in ES6, and they really make like your code less, they make your code compact. Okay, so let me show you something. So I'm just going to say function, right? And the name of this function is just going to be name. Okay, so maybe what I'll do is I'll just comment out everything I've done before, so that if I need to do a console.log, I won't get any error. So I'm going to create a function called name, and basically for the function is not really going to do anything. It's just going to console.log, and it's just going to console.log my name. So that's going to be a string, so Zeno, right? And if I come down here and say and call the function name, right, and save that, I can check the output in my code editor. So let me just bring this to the right. Sorry, right. Ouch. I prefer to have this on the right. So let me just do that. That's not working. Why? I may have to do this one more time. So let me try it again. Anyway, we can always just look at it on the left. Okay, so I can't figure out why I'm not getting the option to stamp it to the right. All right, so but if you look here, you see that we have Zeno in the console.log. Okay, that's the name we called here. So arrow function basically is just a way to write a function but with a shorter syntax. So what I can do is I can copy this function, comment it out, and then I can use arrow function. So I can paste that in here. And basically what you do in arrow function is that I'm just going to get rid of the function here, and I'm going to make it a variable. So I'll say const, and I'll say name is equal to, and then I'll add an arrow here, so equal to and a greater than sign. And if I save that, and let me just clear the console here, and I run this again, you see that we still get Zeno. So you see here the function is a bit shorter than when you have the function keyword and all of that here. But then there's even a better way, since we have just one line of code inside of it. So let me just show you how we can do that. So I'm going to copy this. I'll come down here and paste it in. Okay, and I'll just put everything on one line so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, and I'll get rid of the curly braces. Okay, so I'll just come here and 1 2 1 2. Okay, so this is the same thing as this. Okay, it's going to do the same thing. So let me comment this out and let me save this. And if I come here and run the console one more time, so this happens sometimes with this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and save the page one more time, and if I run it, I shouldn't get any issue. So let me run that. All right, so you see here we have Zeno. So basically that's arrow function for you. It's just a way to shorten your functions and have a more compact code. All right, so that's it. By the way, I also have a tutorial on arrow functions where I go into details to explain arrow functions, so you can check that out in the description. All right, so the next thing you need to know, the next JavaScript basics you need to know before you get into React is ES6 classes. Okay, so very interesting. ES6 classes, of course, they were introduced in ES6, and they are used in a similar way as many object-oriented programming languages like Python, Java, and other stuffs. And let me just give you the basics of how ES6 classes work. So if you want to create a class, basically you just use the class keyword, and then you specify the name of the class. So I'm going to create a person class, okay? And I'm going to then come in here and say constructor, right? Like you create an object here. So I'll just say constructor here, and here I'll then give it some parameters, so name, and then I'll say job. Okay, I'll come here, add some curly braces, and then I'll say this dot name, and I'll set it to be equal to name. Okay, close that, and then I'll say this dot job, and I'll set it to be equal to job as well. Okay, Now, classes can have objects. So if it was ES5, I'll probably need to go down and say person.prototype and all of that. But in ES6, that is, you don't need all of that. So basically you can just say greet, right? I want to create a method inside of this, and the name of that method is greet. And basically inside of that method, I'm just going to console.log something. So I'll say console.log, and I'll use backticks, template literals, to get the name and the job properties here. Okay, so I'll say hello, I'll add a comma, and I'll say my name is, okay, and let's do this, and I'll say this dot name. Okay, I'll add a comma, and then I'll say I am a, sorry, I am a, okay, and then I would, where's my dollar, and then I'll say this the job. Okay, all right, so what we can do is we can then come outside of this ES6, this class we just created, and we can define a new person. We can create a new person object. So the way we can do that is I'll say const Zeno, and I'll set it to be equal to new person. Okay, let's open brackets and let's define the name and the job. So I'll just come here and I'll just say Zeno. My name is Zeno, by the way, and I would say that I am a developer. Okay, all right. Now basically what I can do is I can then say Zeno dot greet, and then I'll just call that. Okay, yeah, so basically I'm going to save this, I'll clear this guy, and I'll run this code. So maybe I should give some space here so we can see very clearly. So I'll run the code, and you'll see here that we now have hello, my name is Zeno, okay, which is what we passed here, and I am a developer, which is what we passed here. Okay, so basically that's just a run through of ES6 classes. So you should have like a working knowledge of ES6 classes before you delve into React. All right, so the next thing you should know before you delve into React is array functions, or array methods, not functions. Array methods, especially the map and filter. Okay, so because you're going to use that a lot when you start learning what's it called, when you start learning React. Okay, so but I have a you should definitely check out the description of this video. I have a tutorial, in fact I have a playlist on like maybe 15 array methods, so you can actually check that if you want to sharpen your skills on array method. But basically you just need to these are the two important ones you need to know before you start learning React. So let me just do a run through. I'll start with the filter array method. So basically the filter method, right, creates a new array with an array element that passes a test, and that test is usually provided as a function. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to grab an array. So I have an array somewhere. I'll just come here and paste that in, right? So this is just an array of ages. Right? Now what if I wanted to find out all of the adults within this array? In other words, everybody that is from 18 and above. Okay, so I can use an array method, the filter array method, to get that out. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come here and say const, and I'll say is adult, right? And I'm just going to set it to be equal to ages, which is the name of this variable here, and then I'll say dot filter. Okay, all right, so basically let's open a bracket first, and I'm going to use arrow function. So I would say I want to get the age, right? So let's put our arrow function, and let's open that up here, and I'll say I want to return the age that is greater than or equal to 18. Okay, all right, so basically if I run my console.log, what do you think is going to happen? It will create a new array, and all of the ages from 18 and above will be in that array. So I don't expect 16, 14, and 12 to be in the array. So I'll just come down here and say console.log, and I'm just going to console.log is adults. So I can just grab that and paste that in, and I can go ahead and save. So basically I don't want this to console.log again, so I'll just get rid of the zeno.greet, and I'll save that one more time. I'll clear the console and I'll run this guy here. So you see here we have a new array 18, 34, 33. It has gotten rid of all the ages that are less than 18. Okay, that's basically what we wrote here. So that's the filter array method. Now let me just quickly show you the map array method. So I think I should probably add a comment. Well, there's no need. I'll just come here and say map method. Okay, so basically let me tell you what the map method does first before I do it. So the map method creates a new array, okay, from an existing array, and populates that new array with the result of a callback function. Okay, let me just explain what that means. Okay, sometimes it's easier to explain these things. So I'm going to copy an array of numbers here. So this is an array of numbers. Okay, and basically what I want to do is I want to create a function that will double these numbers. Okay, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say, first I'll just create the function. So I can say function, right? And the name of that function is going to be double numbers. Okay, so I'll say double and num. Okay, I'll just leave it at that. I'll open a bracket here, right? And this is like, I don't want to spend too much time explaining the basics. Like I said, if you check the description, you're going to see an array playlist, and you're going to find all of this well explained there. Okay, all right. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come here and I'll do like so, and I'll say return. So I'll say return value times 2. Now you see here I'm saying return value, so that means I'm going to come here and create a value parameter. Okay, so basically this can actually take a value, an index, and an array. Okay, 3 different parameters. Okay, but for now I'm just interested in the value. Okay, so that's the function. So what I'm going to do now is I'll just come down here and I'll create a variable. Okay, I'll say const, and the name of this variable is going to be doub doubled, and I'm going to set this variable to numbers.map. Okay, so numbers.map. Okay, and here is where we're going to then add a function. So this is the callback function. So I'll just get this guy here. So I'll do Control C and I'll paste that here. All right, so let me just do a 30-second explanation. So first off, we had the array of numbers, so 1 to 5. We created a new variable and we said numbers, which is this variable here, dot map. So we are applying the map method to the numbers variable, and then we passed in a function. So this is the callback function here. So we then came down here to create this function that we passed in, and for that we said that we want to return only the value, we want to return the value times 2, and these are the values here. Okay, so in other words, we are multiplying all of these values by 2. So basically what we're going to have is 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Okay, all right, so that's it. So if I come down here and I do a console.log, right, and I just pass in the doubles, what's it called? So I'll do Control C and I'll paste that in, right, and I'll get rid of this console.log, this previous one, because I don't need it and I want everything to be clear. And then if I run this code in the code editor, you see here that we have 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Okay, so that's basically how the map method works. All right, so what we have next is okay, we've seen the we have we're going to talk about the destructuring assignments. Okay, now let me just scroll down here and add a comment. So I would say So this is a concept in JavaScript that you need to understand before you delve into React. Okay, and basically the destructuring assignment is simply a way to copy a part of an array or an object and put it inside of a variable. Okay, so maybe what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a new a new object. So I'll say person1. Okay, because we've created the person object before, and I'll say like this. Oh, we created the person class. Okay, so I'll say person1 is equal to, and then I'll just say first name. So I'm just going to f name, right? And I'm going to set it to my name. Oh, it's an object, so I need to do it like so. And I'll just say Zeno. You know, you need to add a comma if you want to add a new property. So I'll just do that 3 times. And here I'll just say Akbareva, and I'll change this to last name, so L name. And here I'm just going to say job, so JOB, and I'll say developer. Great. So this is a simple object I created. Name of the object is person1. Now what happens if I want to assign this first property in the object to a variable called first name? What happens? So let me show you how you can do that. So I'll say const, and I'll open curly braces. Inside of that curly braces, I'm going to say first name, or maybe I'll just say f name, right? F name, and I'll set it to be equal to person1. Great, and then I'll close. Now let's go ahead and do a console.log. So maybe I'll just copy this, and I'll come down here and paste that and change this to f name and save. What do you think is going to happen? I'll get rid of the first console.log. So let me clear my console and let me run the code. What do you think is going to happen as I've done this console.log? So let's try it and see. Oh, there's a mistake here, so this should be name and save, and let's run the code. And you see here we have Zeno as the first name. So essentially what we've done is that we've taken this property and assigned it to a variable named f name. Okay, that's basically what we just did. But you know something, we can also like I can add a comma here and say last name, right? And if I come here and do console.log and I say L name and save, if I run the code in the terminal, you see here that I get Akbareva. So that's the last name. So you can assign multiple variables in one line. Okay, do you know that you can also use the destructuring on an array? So let me show you how you can do that. So basically I think I created an array of numbers. So I'll just get this array of numbers, I'll comment this out so it doesn't conflict, and I'll come here and I'll paste this in, or maybe I'll just change this to numbers1. I'll just add 1 there. I'll save. Okay, so if I just come down here like so and I say const and then I'll just use this my square brackets and I'll say 1, and maybe I'll just say 1 and let me just add a comma and say 2. Okay, and I'll then set it to be equal to numbers1. Okay, and I can close that. If I come here and do a console.log, so I'll copy this and comment it out and come down here, paste that in and say numbers1, right? And I'll save. What do you think is going to happen? So it's going to assign this 1 and 2 to these first two array elements. Okay, so let me clear the console and let me run my code. Oh, I'm getting that error again. So let me save, let me like add something and save one more time. And many times when I get an error, it's just the extension that's misbehaving. So let me just change some things and save the code, and if I run the code one more time, you see that everything should work fine. Oh, I'm still getting the error. Oh, sorry, I'm supposed to console.log1 because that's the new variable. Oh shit, sorry about that. Sometimes So let me just clear the terminal and let me run that. Okay, so numbers one, what are they even saying here? Okay, const, I have an error somewhere up, numbers.map. Let me just comment out all these guys. So I'll comment it out, I'll save, I'll clear and run. Const double numbers.map. I've commented these guys out. What's going on here? Okay, just a minute. Let me. All right, so I commented out everything I've done before, and let me save that. So basically, this is the only active code I have here. The same code, I didn't actually make any change. And let me run it one more time, and you see here that we have one here. Okay, so I can come here, add a comma just like I did before, and say 2, and it will assign 2 to the second variable. Okay, so if I change this here to 2 and save, right, and like run the console one more time, you see that we have 2 here. So let me show you one trick. Like if you want to skip this third one, right, so if I add a comma here, I'll add another comma here, and I'll say 4. Okay, basically what this means is that it's going to skip the third one and jump to the assign this 4 to the next one. Okay, so if I come here and I say, let me do this quickly, 4, and save, if I run that, you see that we get 4. All right, so I think that's it about what did I just talk about? Destructuring. Okay, that's the basics of destructuring that you should at least understand before you get into React. So the next thing we're going to talk about is Es6 modules. Okay, so let me just say Es6, and specifically we're talking about imports and exports. Okay, so basically I'm just going to give you a verbal summary of what this is, and then I'm going to do another video and talk about it. Okay, so basically a module is simply a JavaScript file, okay, that exports one or more values, okay, which can either be an object, a function, or a variable. Okay, it uses the keyword export, of course. Okay, and basically what this allows you to do in JavaScript is that you can store a function in one JavaScript file and export it later to another file so that it can be available for use in that file. So basically it just helps you break up your code into different files, okay, and it makes it easier for you to manage your code. So you've written different modules, different functions in different places, and then you can just import it into your main file when you need it. Okay, so that's just basically what the Es6 modules talks about. So I'll do another video and I would talk about it in details. Okay, then here the next thing we need to talk about is the spread and rest operator. So I'm also going to do another video and talk about the spread and rest operator and how we can use it. But just so you know, the spread operator is used for splitting up the values of an array and adding them to another array. Okay, we can also use it on an object to split the properties of an object and add it to another object. Okay, all right, so but whereas the rest operator is used to represent infinite amounts of arguments in a function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another video and I'll upload it. It's going to be about the spread and rest operator, and then I'll talk about the Es6 modules, import and export as well. Okay, so basically if you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe, and thank you so much for watching this tutorial. See you in another one.